Can I put a finger on something that we have all collectively achieved? Can I be sure that tomorrow when you get up in the morning, wherever you are in a plane, and will you have some provocative thoughts to take away from here and say, yeah, now that was a good idea? Will you, you get back to your work on Monday or Tuesday, what would you tell your colleagues?
I think the most important thing to me hearing the discussion was that we try to limit our discussion of co-creation to something which is tangible and not too broad. If we are any type of exchange or any type of good advice is co-creation, then it's too broad. And I think where it really becomes new and new challenging is not the small groups sitting and discussing, because we've done that quite a lot for 20, 30 years. It's when we have large companies, large organizations, 3, 4 different companies working together to create something valuable. So I think that's the most important insight here.
How many of you now have a Samsung TV? Okay, that's interesting. Now, let me tell you that when I worked for Sony for 9 years, the TV market across Europe tended to follow certain rules when it came to price performance. Okay? So a TV of a certain size, of a certain type of technology, of a certain resolution, would command a certain price. The exception to that, and it was a big exception, was Danish consumers buying Bang & Olufsen. Okay? Danish consumers for decades considered the Bang & Olufsen the quintessential television, independent sometimes of price performance. And frankly, it was a thorn in the side of organizations such as Sony.
Development space?
I mean, this is what I've spent the better part of my career on, is designing processes for co-creation. And there's a lot of there are a lot of things that you have to be aware of, like the equality of participation and how you get people to actually talk.
I think the last session was actually the best session we've had so far, because I think people are finally, by having the process very fuzzy and undetermined and sort of laissez-faire, people are sort of slowly developing towards a consensus of what is needed and what the open issues are. And it opens up a whole lot of new ways of thinking that actually forces you to rethink your own views on co-creation. And you walk away with so much richness. It's amazing.
One thing we could agree on, which I suppose is more of an ethos type thing, is values as a guiding star and also as a key objective, and something that everyone most likely is going to agree on a human level.
The sort of general sentence was that co-creation builds upon trust and generosity and respect. And thus, it's really a cultural matter. And so it's a cultural revolution. It's not a matter of just methods and tools. It's a matter of something you do, and you cannot do it without generosity and trust. So that would be sort of the philosophical statement from us, I guess.
The point I'm trying to make in my last concluding statement is, let's not look at worlds as separate entities. Let's look at worlds that can be connected with these glues that we have discussed. And co-creation possibly can be one method to use as a sense to glue these two worlds.